go ahead and finish up press conferences today here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We are now joined by our race winner, Denny Hamlin, crew chief Michael Wheeler, and Steve D'Souza. Denny, this is your second Xfinity Series win this season, first win at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You had the dominant car all day. Talk about battling back from that early spin.
Yeah, we were able to get back in the top 10 within, I think, 10 laps or so after that spin. And I knew right away that our car was very, very dominant, and obviously tried a little bit too hard on that one restart with Kyle. We were on the bottom in a kind of a vulnerable spot, and I thought I got the jump on him good enough to where typically if you can get your nose out in front of the guy on the outside, you typically can get enough air to hold your car down low. But he drove it in there just as deep as I did, and I think he ran the middle lane, and that just gives the guy on the bottom no opportunity to hold his car down there, and I just washed up into him and spun. But obviously we had a great car. We came through the traffic quick, and knew from that point on that we had a pretty good car. We just had to execute and try to get to the finish line first.
Michael, pit road strategy played a large part throughout the race. Talk a little bit about the calls you made there at the end and helping Denny get to victory lane.
Yeah, kind of had a plan since yesterday, honestly. We were watching lap times on older tires, and honestly the fall-off wasn't too bad. So I had a notion of if we were that good to try to coach Denny to save tires during the green flag stop, and he was doing that. Equally, I know there's 10 cars in the lead lap, and when you're in a position where you're the leader and guys are going to try to beat you, and we were in the point where they were going to do the opposite. I don't blame them. I know if we were running third and we couldn't win, just passing straight up, we would do the same thing. So it's nerve-wracking. It's like we knew we had the best car and best driver, and it was almost clean sailing. But when they throw that caution late for some of that stuff, it makes it a race, and that's what's good about the sport is you always get a second chance, and fortunately we came out on top.
And Steve, this is the third win for the number 20 Toyota, fifth win in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing. Talk about the organization's success in the series this season.
Well, obviously we're very proud of the whole organization, Joe Gibbs Racing, the Cup side, or Xfinity side. It's been phenomenal, really this year, the way all the teams have come together. They're working extremely well together. We're very proud of that, and obviously the results are showing up on the racetrack. A little nerve-wracking. I think Coach said the same thing last week on the Cup side when those guys were racing each other, and again this weekend. It's great to have our cars running so well. Obviously when you stand back and you watch it and you see them racing against each other so hard, you're going, oh my gosh. But that's what we love to see, and they're experts, they're professionals, and it's really fun to watch them.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start here with Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Denny, can you talk about also the second contact with Kyle? And then on the last restart, did you feel Austin had jumped it? And he was angry that you didn't give him at least a lap to try to maybe run side by side before having some contact with him.
I did feel like he left early. I was the control car, and I was going to wait. I typically started early in the box, most restarts, and I was going to wait till late in the box, but he took off right in the middle of the box, and short of just stacking the field up and not going, I didn't want to wreck everybody behind me, so I just took off and conceded that he was just going to jump the start, and really nothing was going to be done about it. But when the outside, there's a misconception I think at this track on what responsibility the outside car has. The bottom lane at this track is the middle. It's not the yellow line. Nobody runs on the apron at this racetrack. So when you're the outside car and you choose to run the middle and somebody's underneath of you, you run a risk of that car more than likely washing up into you. Everyone's done it. Austin's done it. Kyle's done it sometime in his career. We've all done it. But when that outside car chooses to hold you down and pinch you down, typically they get the bad end of the deal. I got the worst end of the deal on the first one with Kyle. But when a car's on the bottom, I typically move up to the third lane to give the person an opportunity to stay underneath me. I did it with Kyle earlier in the race. I think he passed me twice, and I kind of threw my hands up, moved up high, and let him have the spot. But with him and Austin, they both kind of ran the middle, trying to protect their position like they're supposed to. But it just gives me no opportunity to save my car, and I'm already committed to the bottom. At that point, once you let off the throttle and you turn down in, you're hoping they give you the true bottom line, which is the middle. But when they don't, it's typically you pinch, you pay type of problem.
Final questions?
That about cover it? All right.
Pat Cole at NASCAR.com. Denny, as I'm sure you're aware by now, Austin was pretty upset about the contact and everything. And something was said over his radio that if he doesn't get you today, there's always tomorrow. Is that something you have to worry about tomorrow, or how do you approach that?
Not really. I have a win, and I have nothing to lose, basically. It's just heat of the moment. Obviously, I was as upset as he was that I moved him out of the way. I was just upset that he jumped the restart. So.
Is that something you and Wayne has a Boston Globe? Is that something you and Austin might talk about? Going into tomorrow, or do you think you might sit down with him at some point to talk a little bit about that?
It's to me, it's not such a big deal. You got to sit down with somebody and talk about it, but definitely, I mean, it's heat of the moment. We're both racing for a win, and I've been on the other side of somebody moving me out of the way for a race win, inside 20 to go, and especially on a short track. It happens, and it's part of short track racing. The two instances when I got into both Kyle and Austin, I didn't wreck anyone. Yes, I moved both of them up the racetrack, but definitely didn't spin anyone out. And that's kind of, and really the reason I spun out the times that I washed up is because I'm trying to stay off of them. So you're trying to race side by side, but like I say, when the top car commits to the middle lane, which is the bottom lane of the racing group, it gives that bottom car no opportunity to save his car.
When Austin was in here, I don't know if you heard, but he was talking about Texas a couple of years ago where you called him a spoiled rich kid or something to that effect. And he's like, what am I supposed to call? Pretty much said, what am I supposed to call Denny now after this?
A winner.
All right. Congratulations and thank you for coming in.
All right, thanks.